Good morning and welcome to the JMCSS podcast for the district. I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for Jackson-Madison County Schools. Today we're visiting with Damonn Fuller, head coach of the Southside boys basketball team and a dean among coaches in West Tennessee. We're also joined today, assisting with the interview, is London Murphy, a junior at Southside High School and a student intern with the district's communications team. More on that in a moment, but first, here's a quick reminder. For the district, the JMCSS podcast is a production of the Jackson-Madison County School System in partnership with Forever Communications. You can listen to this episode and others on Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Coach Fuller.
How you doing?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for allowing me to be here.
London, welcome.
Hello.
A few weeks ago, we had some of our other interns on the show. This is can I call this the Southside episode?
You can.
You can.
Okay. I might get in trouble for it. You know, the other day I was wearing blue, and we had some Northside alum on the desk.
Bless them.
So sticking with the theme, if you're on the radio, if you're listening on the radio, you can't see this, but I have on a red vest. Coach Fuller has on think of a black Letterman jacket, the Hawks script across the chest.
Yes.
The neck has some red there. London, you're a cheerleader for Southside. You also play soccer there. London has the black armed cheerleader jacket, and the front part is white with the red SSHS. So thank you guys for being here.
Go Hawks.
Thank you.
Now, Coach, I'm going to start where I always start with these interviews. You've been an educator for a long time, but I want to know, did you always know you wanted to work in education?
I did not. I wanted to be a physical therapist starting out because it gave me an opportunity to stay in sports for as long as I could stay in it.
Being at Southside High School, you were a student at Southside. Now you're a coach. What was that first year like? Your first year at Southside, you were under your former coach, T. Willie Tyson.
Yes.
Your first year was the 03-04 season.
Yes, sir.
Take us back. What was that like going back to your alma mater?
One of the biggest adjustments was just getting out of the role as being 20-something years old, coming into a school where you got 18-year-olds. So the separation from being that age to being a role model, adult, or all the accolades that come with being a leader was the biggest adjustment that I had to do.
We're visiting with Damonn Fuller, head coach of the Southside boys basketball team. Let's fast forward. Let's talk about this season. I guess over the last 2 years, the talk has been the Southside Lady Hawks, deservedly so. Coach McNeil's had them on a roll. And we know success kind of goes in cycles. You think about the run Peabody football was on in football a while back. Several years back, Huntington was on a roll. Talk about this roller coaster of success and how you figure out a way to kind of stretch that to make it last. I know there's only so much you can do in terms of that, but talk about the wave you guys were on for so long. I guess it was the 2019 season. You guys went 36-0, or was that 2020?
2020. Yes, being when we first started out, being that I was still trying to adjust from the college perspective of basketball to the high school level was a big adjustment because the things that you did at college, most players already knew what they needed to know. And so when I got into high school, first we started out a little rocky, and then we figured it out. And then once we figured it out, we started putting together teams that were producing, wins. Mm-hmm. And then we finally got a taste of the state tournament through A.J. Merriweather and Jalen Barford, Chris McNeil, Malik Hicks, Tarikas Tarandis, Smith, Ricky Beard, a whole lot of kids. Mm-hmm. And then it became an expectation. And so when the expectation came, the drive, the motivation, the taste of it was something that we wanted every year. And just like any other team, the period that we're going through now, the adversity period, is just a period trying to get kids to understand the level of expectation that is placed upon the school. And just like I actually had a conversation with my team about that yesterday. My grandfather been pouring concrete for 40 years, and his name is all over the state of Tennessee. And who am I to come behind it and doing the concrete business that I do and tarnish his name
Not do it the right way
and not do it the right way?
at a high level.
So my expectation has to stay high all the time, even if I don't always reach it. As long as I'm climbing for it, I think it keeps a balance.
We're visiting with Damonn Fuller, head basketball coach at Southside High School for the boys team. Also joining us at the desk, London Murphy. She's a intern with the district's communications team. London has some questions, and I'll allow her to ask her first question now.
What do you think is the most important thing for your players?
To become young men, I think that if they become young men, then the basketball is just a added addition, because in playing sports, the immaturity, you're not going to be successful being immature. And as sooner that they mature and become young men, I think that the athleticism that they have, that God give them, can come out 100%.
Talk about how the season is going for you guys right now.
Right now, we're just trying to find some consistency in areas. Right now, we are 3-2 and 3-3, and 2-3. I'm sorry, and we're trying to basically get the consistency amongst each player to know that they have to do things that they need to do every day, every night, instead of just trying to do it when they think it's about to end.
Coach, I do want to ask you, and I told you before the show started, earlier this week, I was visiting with Jimmy Arnold, a longtime principal at Southside High School, longtime county commissioner, and I was asking him about some of the athletes that came through during his time at Southside. He's rolling off the name of these athletes: your Jabari Greer, your A.J. Merriweather, your Jalen Barford. Then he names you, and he stops, and he makes sure he made sure that I knew not only athletically but also in terms of leadership is what stood out the most to him when he thought about you. He mentioned your time as a student at Southside High School. If you would, for a moment, take us back to your time at Southside and how your activities on campus, those relationships you made, kind of helped develop your path to come back home.
When we first got to the school, it was consolidated from Denmark to Southside, and the culture was so different, and a lot of us didn't feel like we wanted to be there and stuff, and so I had a talk with my parents, my grandparents, and they said you need to make the best of every situation that you have, and so we did. I started to get on the student council, started to go to the game, start to do everything that you would want a high school kid to do. Unlike today, most of the kids just try to stay in one path and just try to come to school, wake up, and do the same thing every day. And that was boring to us. We started doing things more culture-wise. One of the biggest things, and I think that you was there and experienced the getting in the back of the parking lot back there, 50 cars, 100 kids, and we just back there just having a good time, until it got dark, and then we would leave there and go to Taco Bell and do the same thing. And I think that a lot of kids miss what high school is really about, the camaraderie, the relationship that you develop. And I thank Mr. Arnold for those words and accolades, because, like I say, he was a great leader himself. And the one part, Coach Tyson, I was up under him since I was in sixth grade. And so to see how he handled things, I just have always been around great leaders. So I watched people, and so when we started to get in the student council, one of the biggest things we was trying to do was trying to have a voice for the student body, because I don't like now. I don't think they have the student council. We developed things like on Fridays. If you had an 89 and above average, you went to the gym and had a pizza party. You had so many things that the student council did, to help enhance the kids inside of the school.
to sum up, I think what you described your Southside experience was you bought in.
I bought in.
And your grandparents and your parents encouraged you to do that. When we get back from this commercial break, I think many of the students are doing this now. I think about London Murphy taking advantage. You know, she's in 4-H.
Yes.
She's she's a cheerleader. She plays soccer. There's a lot of kids that are kind of following that blueprint. We're going to talk about that if that's okay with you, London. We're going to talk about that after this break. Don't go anywhere. Damonn Fuller, head coach of the Southside boys basketball team, is our guest. You're listening to For the District, the JMCSS podcast on JJ 97.7 FM.
This is your JMCSS Minute.
This message brought to you by Jackson Madison County Schools.
Hi, I'm Nevaeh Coleman, a senior at JCM Early College High School, and this is your JMCSS Minute. Did you know 81 bus drivers currently provide transportation for our students? This is more than a 20% increase since COVID, with many drivers coming out of retirement to provide transportation. Covering 12,000 miles daily, 8,000 students are taken to and from school with the help of our drivers. Currently, more than 2,000 families have downloaded the Where's My Bus app to stay updated about their child's bus route during the day. We're encouraging more families to use the app in order to stay aware. I'm Nevaeh Coleman, a senior at JCM Early College High School, and this is your JMCSS Minute.
Visit jmcss.org to join our team, apply for enrollment, or to schedule a tour. Choose us. Tuition free. Jackson Madison County Schools.
Welcome back to For the District, the JMCSS podcast on JJ 97.7 FM. This morning, we're visiting with Damonn Fuller, head coach of the Southside boys basketball team, and assisting us with today's interview is London Murphy, a junior at Southside High School and a student intern with the district's communications team. Coach, a lot of people like to say kids have changed, you know. And maybe the culture has changed a little bit, but I think about students like London taking advantage of different opportunities. Have kids changed? What would you say, thinking back from your time, in the 90s to today? Have kids changed?
As far as them being assertive and aggressive, it has. They consider what other people think more than they consider their own selves. And it's because they don't want to be shunned out or they don't want to be excluded from the fold. But I never thought that would ever happen with the advantages and the technical capabilities that the kids have. They have so much to be thankful for in regards to things that can help them, but they close themselves off based off what somebody else thinks.
A lot of these programs that help kids have confidence, your sports, your extracurricular activities. London, when did you join 4-H?
I joined 4-H fourth grade, but I became more active in 10th grade.
Yeah. And so would you say participating in 4-H and other activities has kind of helped you with confidence and kind of navigate high school?
It has, because I've just became the vice president of my club.
Oh, well, excuse me. Should we salute? Great job, London.
Yes.
Now, London, you're a student at Southside. You're a cheerleader, so you're right there on the sideline cheering on the Hawks. What other activities, in addition to the internship, do you participate in?
Other sports, soccer, track, and I also have did tennis. And also have did cheer. Really?
So why do you participate in all these activities?
Because I won't be lazy. Because if you don't do a lot, you will just become a lazy body. You won't do anything. You'll lose your confidence, and you'll just need to be productive.
Coach, you agree with that?
100%. I think she's going in the right direction as far as trying to assert herself in the many things that she can get in.
Lots to participate in there at Southside High School. We talked about leadership opportunities, whether it's Beta Club, different sports and activities. What a lot of people may be surprised to hear, Coach, and we'll get into some of your basketball accolades in a moment, but thinking about this whole high school experience, you and your brother participated in fine arts in high school, correct?
We did.
Can you talk about?
Oh, also, I'm in choir, too.
She's also in choir.
Advanced choir.
Mr. Reed, I'm sure Mr. Reed is happy, London, that you brought that up. But no, Coach, but really, thinking about in addition to coming up under Coach Tyson and your basketball career, those opportunities in fine arts. Can you speak to that at all?
We sung in the choir as well as London does. We was asked to do it, and so it was hard at first. You know,
why was it hard? Why was it difficult?
Because you had to sing in front of people. We took the show on the road. I mean,
you mean the star basketball player was nervous?
Yes,
that was the one thing that got you nervous.
Yes, and it was to the point that we would actually ask them to cut the lights out on the floor so we can see people's faces.
Really?
Yeah, it was we had. When we had talent shows, you talking about 500 plus people. Well,
right.
I mean, you were there.
Right,
right. It was a lot of people. And, you didn't know if your voice was going to crack or you didn't know if something was going to happen. So.
And that's so, Coach, that's funny because people, or interesting for sure, people may be surprised to know this great athlete, in this environment. And what did you learn from that, Coach? Because, again, a lot of people would think, to step on a basketball court in front of thousands of people would be that thing that makes someone nervous. But participating in choir, something that you had to work in, what was the payoff or the benefit for you kind of long term when you think about stepping outside of your basketball element to do something different?
I just felt like anything that I did by doing that, I could be great in it. To get out there and sing and learn songs and remember words and pronunciate and enunciate and one time we tried to dance,
Dance and sing?
Yeah, we did everything. But her pushing me, Miss Hammonds, pushing us to come out of our shell was huge. It makes me want to do it all the time because I think that our kids today, they don't want to step out. They want to stay in the bubble of their own lives, and they miss a lot because can you imagine all the stuff that they have going on now?
Right.
That they could grab hold to, but yet they just want to stay in the bubble with the cell phone.
Yeah. I think that's why we're so encouraged by students like London who are participating in multiple activities. London, I do want you to tell me what's it been like to interview many of the players, whether it's the football players, the girls basketball players, the boys basketball players. Right now, if you go to the Jackson-Madison County Schools YouTube page, you'll see several videos that London has produced. So what has that experience been like for you? I know you're an athlete participating in track and in soccer. What's it been like to be kind of on the other side of athletics in the media realm?
Well, you get to hear more of their side. You don't, because usually outside you just see, oh, well, they're just doing that. But it's actually more into basketball and football than I thought it was. So it was just a great time hearing about all their experiences and what they actually have to implement in the plays and everything like that.
Now, Coach, you talked about being nervous in choir and fine arts.
Yes.
London, kind of recap, if you would, the broadcast you participated in. It was a broadcast that was on this station here, 97.7 FM with Forever Communications. I think it was Southside Lexington, the football game. Was that it?
It was.
So London did a little bit of sideline reporting. She also helped out in the booth. Describe that for us. What was that like?
It was very nerve-wracking, but I just had to keep on talking about it, and after that, it was easier to talk.
Yeah. We're visiting with Damonn Fuller, head coach of the Southside boys basketball team, and London Murphy. She's a junior at Southside High School, a cheerleader and a student intern with the district's communications team. Coach, looking at your numbers, Southside High School, you got to go ball. So the pinnacle of your profession, you've done that. When you think about not just having a team but a program, 8 appearances in the state tournament, 2003, 2004, 2013, 2014, 2018, 2020, 2021, 2022. 5 runner-ups, 2022, 2021, 2014, 2013, 2004. When I say those years, I would have to imagine faces and names and situations come to mind. We see the Glass House, Murfreesboro. We may remember the championship game. But in any of those years, do you remember some of the critical games leading up to those championship games? Do any of those games kind of stick out to you that the average Joe would have forgot years ago, but was a very seminal moment to your success in any of those years?
Yes, the sub-state games. Probably they're better than the state games to me. You have the whole community. Yeah, it's just you open to go outside and look at the fans lined up at the door all the way down to Highland, or not down the
Parks Bridge.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
and then they get to come in. And then you see the faces of people that you haven't seen in so many years. Yeah. And then it brings my former players back that can't make it to the state tournament. It's just, it's better to me than the actual state.
It's funny you say that because now my mind goes back to those sub-state games, particularly when you guys had that 2014, 2013 run.
Sheffield.
At Southside, a packed house, and you're right. There are people who kind of waited, didn't necessarily come out, but you can't ignore a sub-state game and everything's on the line. So community members from different schools even come to support. You're right. In reflection, when you think about that, that really is special. I also, Coach, think it speaks to the importance of valuing every step in the journey. Yeah. Can you speak to that? Because you hear about coaches that win a state title, and hours after the state title, a fan will say, "Hey, Coach, looking forward to getting next year. Hey, Coach, are we going to go next year?" Can you speak to the importance of enjoying the journey?
Most definitely. Funny you say that because a fan said, you are the face for the city in basketball, Southside. If you're not doing it, then who is? Liberty made the run for so long, and then they transitioned. Right. And so we've been doing this now since 2014, and so it's uncharacteristic for us to not be there. And the gentleman wasn't even a Southside fan, like you said. And so he said, which is different from most of the schools in Jackson, is that I don't care as long as it's from Jackson. Right. So, when they put it on our shoulders, be like, look, you got to do this for the city of Jackson. I was like, all right.
That kind of raises the pressure a little bit.
It raised it. It raised it. Yes, it did.
We're visiting with Damonn Fuller, head coach of the Southside boys basketball team, and London Murphy. London's a junior at Southside. She's a cheerleader and a student athlete, also a student intern with the district's communications team. Before we go to this timeout, Coach, speak for a moment about Brent McNeil, your colleague on the other end of the gym, taking over that girls basketball program. And you mentioned, when you say 2014, so you're coming up on a decade of dominance in boys and girls basketball. Because the girls have been so successful, it's even magnified that stretch that Southside, has been successful. Speak to Brent McNeil, the fact that he's a colleague, and then watching his progression there.
Well deserving. He put the work in, put the time in, did everything that he needed to do to be successful. He wanted to be the best in the city, and so he started out. He started doing the things that it took to be great. And then he got a taste of going to the state. And that taste will never get satisfied until you get the ball. And he put that before him every day. People never know. They don't really understand the sacrifice that goes into coaching. They think because we show up on the game day and we might be dressed alike, or we have on this, that it's just a breeze.
Just show up and get it done.
Yeah, show up and get it done. But they have no idea what it takes, and he does. He has done a great job with the girls program. He's got girls playing at the next level. He got his one of the biggest things. He got the culture of the girls to know that when you come here, that's what you got to be about your business.
It's like the concrete analogy you mentioned with your grandfather.
Yes, sir.
That expectation level, that the quality has to make the mark.
It's there. We talk about it sometimes. The cheerleaders and everybody, they run so much or they this. But when you're hunted, like we're hunted, you can't lose for conditioning. You can't lose for the hard work. You gotta lose because the team is just better than you. But not for that, not for the hunger.
London Murphy has some questions she's going to throw at you right after this break. You're listening to the JMCSS podcast for the district on JJ 97.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Are you a homeschool family looking for a high-quality education for your child? Jackson Academic STEAM Academy is a tuition-free K-12 cyber school platform that allows students to learn in the comfort of their homes while receiving all the extracurricular benefits and academic support students in traditional schools receive. JASA's academic programs concentrate on science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. High school students at Jackson Academic STEAM Academy have access to 16 hours of dual enrollment credit through Union University. It's an innovative setup that's providing expanded options for students. JASA is just one of many exciting tuition-free learning platforms offered by Jackson Madison County Schools. There's never been a better time to choose JMCSS. Visit jmcss.org/JASA for more information. That's jmcss.org/JASA. Choose us. Tuition-free. Jackson Madison County Schools.
Good morning and welcome back to the JMCSS podcast for the district. I'm London Murphy, a junior at Southside High School and a student intern with the communications team. Today we're visiting Damonn Fuller, head coach of the Southside boys team. What do you think is the most important thing for you to do as head coach?
I think the most important thing is to give the guys an example of everything that we do daily, and that's try to be a person that shows them that hard work is necessary for them to be successful. And I think that if they see that some of the guys go to work with me sometimes and they see the things that I do, and they always say, how in the world do you do it? And I told them, I said, anything you do, you got to give 100%.
Do you ever let them, put the concrete in sometimes?
I hadn't got them in the concrete yet, but they're doing the things that's necessary to get the concrete in there.
Okay. So how do you build team unity among team?
One of the things that we try to do is go to church. I think that them being around each other in a setting that we can all get in with the umbrella of Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is something that helps them to be able to be themselves, because they don't have to be no certain way. They can just be themselves. And we try to go to church. We try to do a lot of church events, and I think that's one thing that we try to do to promote unity.
Cause I got a revival too. The Jacksonville revival.
Yes. The Southside revival is going on, so we expect it to get even bigger. And so, through all our athletes, I think that's the one thing that unifies us more.
London, you did a great job just there. I just tweeted, I think I can just take a break. You're listening to For the District, the JMCSS podcast on JJ 97.7 FM. You've been listening to Damonn Fuller, the head coach of the boys basketball team for Southside, and London Murphy. She's a junior at Southside and a student intern with the JMCSS communications team. Coach, when you think about Southside High School, of course, the hashtag we use on social media, JMCSS Choose Us. Of course, it's not uncommon for us to ask principals and coaches, hey, sell your school in 3 minutes. Of course, I know it's easy to sell because I'm a South Jackson guy. I could do this with you. But just within your context of a Southside graduate, a South Jackson and Denmark guy, sell your school. If someone's thinking about Southside, obviously we know athletics is not the most important thing, but it is certainly the front porch of a university or a school a lot of times, particularly when your school does well in athletics. What makes Southside, and maybe why should someone consider joining the Land of the Hawks?
Athletically, the Southside High School is known for what we do athletically in a major way. If two schools are playing on a Friday night and they know the Southside is playing, most coaches are going to attend the Southside game because they know what brand of basketball, girls and girls and boys wise, that we bring. Our football program, under the new leadership of Coach Lester Narcissus, is about to be on the same realm of basketball, baseball, soccer. All our sports are evolving and getting better. And then academically wise, we're in the top 5 in every category in the state. Along with that, we have some of the great teachers, great teachers who are most are former Southside students. So the culture at Southside is family. The culture is Southside is having a high expectation, and the main thing Southside is that we love each other and we try to do the things that's necessary for us to be great in our community.
Talk about the rest of the schedule. I don't know, maybe over the next 3 weeks. As of this recording, you guys have JCM coming up. Talk about some of the next games you have leading up until, I guess, January. And Coach, come on now. We know all the games are important, but for the fans, tell us some of those games that, like the JCM game, tell us some of those games, I guess, over the next 2 weeks or so that folks may be particularly interested in coming out to see.
JCM, we haven't played JCM since they closed down, so this will be the first time that we played them since then. Mm-hmm. At JCM tonight at 6 o'clock.
With this recording, that would be that might take place before this recording airs. So do check out jmcss.org or your local media to check out the results of that game. Continue, Coach.
We also have Haywood coming up next Friday. We lost to Haywood this past Friday, so it's going to be a great game. With it being close to Christmas, all the kids will be back. All the
your graduates, your college kids.
Yes, they're all will be back, and family back in town. Mm-hmm. And then we start the year off in January. Playing JCM at home. Mm-hmm. So those next 3 to 4 games are going to be very important for us because then we start district play, which is the most important thing of the schedule. Everybody knows in high school it's not what you do non-district, it's what you do district-wise that gets you to the state.
Well, everybody doesn't know that because a lot of people get tore up over all the games. But do speak to that. In London, you can even speak to this, I guess, as a cheerleader when you look at the atmosphere, the way the atmosphere changes in some of these games. But I spoke to Brent McNeil earlier in the week, and it's almost, Coach, help me if I'm wrong, but it's almost like the successful coaches almost brush off November, December. And they say, hey, January, February. Those are the months you hear really your most successful coaches talk about. Is that true?
It is very true. It's not what you do at the beginning, it's what you do at the end. We played this last year. I think we was number 2 in the state of Tennessee for strength of schedule, playing Bolivar and the Haywoods and all those teams. But if you can play in the atmosphere in Bolivar and Haywood, you surely can play in the atmosphere at the Murphy Center. Yeah. And so what we try to do, we try to get those games in to try to prepare us for the district and the region.
London, I want to ask you as a cheerleader, what is the responsibility of that group in terms of setting the atmosphere, and how do you approach that job?
Just making sure everyone's being positive, getting the crowd into the cheers with us so they can help the boys and the girls do better. Because it really is a tough job sometimes. But you just have to carry out and just keep going.
Toughest part about being a cheerleader? Because a lot of people, again, if they've never been a cheerleader, they may not realize what goes into being a cheerleader. Of course, you have to learn the cheers. You have to learn the stunts and the motions and the dances. What would you say the toughest part is?
The toughest part sometimes is like maybe a crowd trying to battle you all the time. So you just have to keep on trying to be louder to overcome that.
Yeah. And I got to say, a few days ago, I was at the JCM Northside game. And Coach Fuller, let me tell you, it was as if we were watching 2 games.
Right.
There's the basketball game that's going on the court, but then also in every interval and timeout and opportunity, it was the Northside cheerleaders trying to outperform the JCM cheerleaders.
Yeah.
London, can you speak to that? What is that like when someone's calling you out? What is that like? Do you look forward to that, or what is that like?
I do we can't like interact with them, but we just take it as a compliment because they like to be like this. So we just take it as a compliment if they try to repeat our cheers. So thank you.
Coach, last couple of minutes here on the show, anything you want to say to the community in terms of coming out and seeing the game with the internet and technology? A lot of people will just say, oh, well, I'll watch it on the internet. Yeah. But I know a lot of times I'll like to listen to the game while I'm at the game. But anything, any maybe encouragement or anything in particular you want to say to folks in the community in terms of game attendance?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank y'all for what y'all do. I think the telecommunications, from the time I've been doing this at the start to now, is amazing. I think what y'all do requires time and patience and a lot of hard work, and I thank y'all for what y'all do. But I do think the being able to broadcast the games where people can't get out as much and they used to come to the games. I have a fan right now that I texted the other day that's been coming to the games since 2005.
Okay.
And if she's able to come, she's there. And when she reaches out, she's not feeling well right now, but she said, I will catch the game online.
Right.
And so you got the guys like Mario Marshall.
Yes.
Tez
Shout out to
Ellison.
Mario.
Yeah. And even Jalen Pruitt, them that's expected of them to be able to go live at the game. And so I just think that communications is just, in 5 years, you never know. We might have the meta quest. You know what I'm saying?
Right? with the player with the camera on the court. Who knows where technology will go? Because this might date us a little bit, but did you have email in high school?
I did.
In high school you had email? Really?
MySpace.
Oh!
Come on, Coach. You had the MySpace account.
True. London, final thoughts. This being your first trip to the podcast, I know you've produced a lot of content on the video production side. Again, we call the clips fast break clips. Okay. These 1 minute clips. She's interviewed several coaches and several players. Final comments from you as you could prepare to wrap up the first semester of your internship.
I'll gain a lot of experience. It just making me better as an intern.
Awesome.
And hopefully I can do more.
Awesome. Coach Fuller, we want to wish you luck in January and February because we know that is when it counts. London, we will see you around. Thank you for the content you're producing and keep up the great work. You've been listening to For the District, the JMCSS podcast on JJ 97.7 FM. You can hear it over the radio waves Sunday at 11:30 or on demand at any time on Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you check out your favorite show. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. You can visit jmcss.org/podcast to check out previous episodes. We hope you have a great Sunday and an excellent week. We'll see you next time.